Hello, and once again, welcome to another episode of the Kate and Eric Show podcast. Hopefully, everybody had a great weekend. Hopefully, had a great week. Had a great Thanksgiving. We did have Thanksgiving last week. It was great. I had a great time. I spent the time over at my parents' house with a bunch of my siblings. So we had a great, got stuffed like always. And it's always kind of I don't know, not really irritating, but just kind of depressing because there's so much good food that you're just like, I just want to eat all of it. And then I get to some things that I would like to have because my stomach would have exploded, like on Mythbusters, if you remember that show where they exploded the stomach of a pig. Yeah, that would have been me. So yeah, we ate dinner. We had a big fat turkey and everything that goes along with that. And then we had all kinds of dessert, and it was amazing. We could have been comatose for the entire day. There was great football on. The Packers won. They beat the Lions in Detroit. The Niners wrecked all over the Seahawks, which is awesome. So they've got a big, huge game coming up against the Eagles. The 49ers do. But hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully it was filled with lots of food, lots of good company. And hopefully there weren't any major family feuds or fights over politics or other such things that happened. But because we kind of touched on all of it in our Thanksgiving dinner. We touched on sports, politics, movies, just everything. There was even some video games and some music genre talk where everybody hates my music genre that I listen to at the gym. I listen to heavy metal and hard rock, so it's that kind of music. So my wife always talks about. She doesn't like my music. Anytime it comes on, there was a time when I was taking my brother and sister-in-law to the airport. It was super early. I forget why or where they were going. But anyway, super early in the morning, and for whatever reason, my Spotify will play automatically when we get into the car. And it's just, I'm usually at the gym the night before, so that's what's playing. So it's hard rock and that kind of fun genre. That's good pump music at the gym, at least for me. And that happened to be playing one time, and my sister-in-law was like, Caden, can you please turn off the music? It was like Metallica or something, but it was super early in the morning. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry. But anyway, hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Can't believe it is Christmas here already. I mean, here in about a month it's going to be Christmas. Just insane. But let's go through what's going to happen on the show today. First of all, thank you to any new listeners, and of course those that continue to listen. You are awesome. I'm thankful for you. Thankful for everybody who does listen. So you can find it, obviously, if you're listening to this, then you can find me on my other socials, Facebook, X, TikTok, Truth Social, and YouTube, where I'll post videos, and then you can see my handsome face all over the social medias, and we can have some fun little conversations. Like I'm just having some fun little conversations today. Of course, it's about the Israel and Palestinian Hamas thing, and it's just amazing how little people pay attention to history. Yeah. So anyway, so we have that. There's been a ceasefire, although this morning I saw that there were 3 dead in Jerusalem, where more Hamas attacked like a bus stop, and 3 were killed. I don't remember how many injured, but Israel is the most patient, I think, most patient country. It's just amazing that they were like, sure, we'll have a ceasefire for a few days. We'll get some prisoners, or some hostages. We'll get 50 hostages to 150 prisoners. We'll give them up just to get these people back. And it's just amazing how much that they are just. How much they give and give and give, and then are just kicked in the teeth when they defend themselves. So yeah, I had a bunch of conversations about that. So there's that. There's the national tree. We'll go over that. We'll blow over because of global warming or climate change or whatever the heck you want to call it. The Gavin Newsom Ron DeSantis debate is tonight on Fox. Check your local listing, and if you're listening to this, it's already passed. So hopefully you did watch it. It's kind of weird to think that way. Meanwhile, we're watching Loki, and it's all talking about. We're watching the second season. That's all talking about time and going back and forth in between time and in the future and the past. So if you're listening to this show, probably unless you listen to it today, what you're listening to is in the past. So the debate has already happened. So that's kind of weird to be talking about it in the future, but you're listening to this in the past. Anyway. So there's that. Of course, now with getting into some sports, we'll do a little sports talk here. So the college football season is officially over. BYU failed to win one game in 5 to go bowling, so they ended the season 5-7. They blew a 24-6 halftime lead over Oklahoma State to lose in double overtime 40-34. So that really sucks. Because I wanted them to go bowling, and then I wanted a rematch with Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship. Because if Oklahoma State would have lost, that would have put in Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship, but they did not. And so Texas will play Oklahoma State, who I'll believe will handle them pretty well, since Oklahoma State basically almost lost to BYU. They got crushed by like UCF and then almost lost to somebody else that wasn't as good. So that'll be interesting. So I think Texas will take that and be the Big 12 champ. We have FSU and Louisville in the ACC. Without Jordan Travis, FSU's quarterback, it will be interesting. Although Tate Rodemeyer, he did pretty well against Florida, and they ended up beating Florida 24-15. So it'll be interesting. So you have the college football playoff. There's like 7 or 8 teams that are trying to get 4 positions, and it'll be interesting because I've thought about this a lot. I liked FSU and Texas both, so it'll be interesting to see if both of them get in, and if they play each other. I've thought about this scenario. If they play each other, who am I going to root for? Because I want them both to win it, but they both can't. So that'll be interesting. Then you got Georgia, Alabama in the SEC. You've got Michigan and Iowa in the Big Ten championship, which I'm predicting it'll be Michigan. They'll beat Iowa. Pretty sure about that. And then you got Washington and Oregon in the Pac-12. So I don't know what the scenario is and how that works out. If FSU wins, they should be in it. I would think if Georgia wins, they're in it, obviously, because they're number 1 right now anyway. And then Michigan will win it. So that pretty much takes the top 3. There's those 3 positions there. And then it gets kind of interesting. So if Washington wins, they'll probably get in, unfortunately, is what I'm kind of thinking. But if Oregon wins and Texas wins, I'd have to say they have to pick Texas in because of their win against Alabama and Tuscaloosa. So hopefully that happens. But anyway, whatever happens, I think some of the games start Friday, and then Saturday is the others. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. So yeah. And then of course the big baseball news is, where is Shohei Ohtani going to go? And if you do not know who he is, are you living under a rock? Do you not know who Shohei Ohtani is? He's from Japan. That's why he's got a funny name. And he is a player much like Babe Ruth, where he pitches and can hit the ball out of the park plenty of times. So he's a free agent, and it'll be interesting to see where he ends up in the free agency land. So there you go. There's the update. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in college football playoff. It'll be cool. It'll be great. It'll be fun. If all the good teams that I want to win, then it'll be great. So just an interesting I don't know if you've ever, we'll get into this stuff here now, but if you've seen the national Christmas tree that is, I believe, in the White House lawn, it blew over. It blew over in the wind. You know, Washington, D.C. has never had wind before. And so, this is the first year that Washington, D.C. has ever had wind. I guess when I was there 20 years ago, that really was not wind. And yeah, so this is the first year they've ever had wind in DC, and apparently the wind was so strong, because it's all that global warming, that's all that climate change, all that climate warming, global change. Yeah, so the national tree blew over, and if that is not just a representation of the current administration that they're just blown over, because if you remember back whenever President pooped his pants, fell up the stairs of Air Force One, they were complaining that there was so much wind that it just, and then the staff was like, oh yeah, it's just so windy that I just blew him up the stairs. So that was their excuse. Apparently there's never been any wind on Air Force One either, because that's never happened before. And so they were claiming that the wind blew him up the stairs. It was just so much, I don't know if they said it was like 100-mile-an-hour wind. It just blew him right up the stairs. No, he's a demented, crotchety old man who can't walk, can't speak, can't do anything. And so he fell up the stairs multiple times. And so the national tree just fell over because of wind. And you just sit there and think, like, hello, that's kind of your job to secure stuff like that. It's not like the first time that there's been wind ever in Washington, D.C. And this isn't the first time a Christmas tree's ever been put up in Washington, D.C. So why couldn't you secure that tree? But that's just a great representation of President Pooped His Pants administration. And they're just blown. Sorry about that. They're just blown over by everything. Blown clean over. So that's great. So apparently they have a crane. This tree is massive. The thing is absolutely huge, and it just gets blown over. And yeah, so they've got a huge crane trying to prop it up for, I don't know, some celebration they're trying to do over there. So that's just fun. That's great, isn't it? That's awesome. So, also some other news. Henry Kissinger, who was the Secretary of State with Nixon and Ford, passed away at 100 years old. Gosh, can you imagine living to 100 years old? I have a patient, and I always go, when I go and see him, I always ask him, how are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm 95. And I just can't imagine living that long. And just the amount of history that you see. And so speaking of talking to people online and how old they are, so Israel became a state or a nation in 1948, and I had somebody, let's see, when was Joe Biden born? Oop, I think it's spelled born, B-O-R-N. Oh man, so she was right. So President Biden is older than the state of Israel. President Biden was born November 20th, so we got to celebrate his birth, 81 years of lies and debauchery. 1942, so he is 6 years older than the state of Israel. Oh my gosh, he needs to go. He needs to go, bye-bye. He needs to go, see you later. Toodaloo. But there's some good news around the world. There's some good news around the world. So there are Argentina. They have just elected, or president-elect, I guess you could say. A very conservative man. He's really he's got a lot of energy. If you've seen videos of him, he has got a lot of energy. And his name is Javier, and I'm not going to be able to, it's Milei, I think. I don't know, I don't speak Spanish. But Milei, Milei. Um, so yeah, so he's a right guy. He's a right wing guy. The Netherlands have just elected a conservative, more right leaning president. You've got Italy, who has also elected a more right wing president, where she wants Italy first, which is completely understandable. We should have that here in America too. Whatever country you are in should be first, and then you can help and do whatever else with anybody else who's looking for help, which should be how it should be, right? There you go. There's a Kamala line. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with whatever country you are from wanting that country to succeed. There's nothing wrong with that. Whereas the left will have you sit there and believe, oh, that's just nationalism. That's just nationalism. Trying to paint nationalism or wanting your country to succeed and be good as something bad. Like, that's what the Nazis did. They were nationalists. They were fascist nationalists. So there's a big difference between what the Nazis were trying to do in Germany and taking over the world and killing millions of people, and what the president of or soon-to-be president-elect in Argentina, the Netherlands, and Italy all are wanting to do. They're sort of like their versions of Donald Trump. They're putting their countries first, which that should happen. They should do that. But of course, the left and the media doesn't like them because they don't go along with their little. Everybody should be under them, and they should be the ruling class of the world. So great job for them. Great job, and I'm proud of them. They did great. Now it's our turn. Please, we've got to get somebody back into the White House that is conservative, will help bring us out of this sewer that we're in right now. Because everybody was talking. You got the White House sitting out there talking how great, how the prices of food have been down. And I spoke last week that just isn't true. The prices are actually up. So yeah, but hopefully we can get this back in. In fact, there was a quote I saw from John Stockton, and if you remember, he played. I don't know if he played in the 80s. He played in the 90s for sure, obviously, because I was living in Utah during the 90s, so the Jazz were good back then. And I got in, that was when the NBA was actually good. It wasn't a political thing. They actually had the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan. But John Stockton, he was a point guard for the Jazz back then in the 90s, and he said a quote, and I didn't picture him to be a political man. I'm sure he obviously has political beliefs, but there's a quote that I saw on Fox News where he said, "We've been more distrustful of government than ever. We've had more things jammed down our throats that aren't even legal than has ever happened, maybe in the history of our country." And yeah, absolutely. Because I played a clip last week where federal or the U.S. Marshals are going around, instead of following terrorists, instead of protecting the nation from people who actually want to do us harm, they are out there keeping track of anybody who flew in to the D.C. area, flew either probably into Dulles or into Reagan for any particular reason. They didn't have to go there for the January 6th rally, the day the democracy almost died. That America doesn't have a democracy, so I don't know how it almost died. We're a constitutional republic. So yeah, that's what they're doing. The federal agents and U.S. Marshals are out there making sure that people that flew into D.C. anytime for any particular reason, they're on some watch list. And if you remember, here I'll play this clip again to kind of refresh your memory. But this is what the lady had to say.
Are on planes right now, and how many do you think there should be to get to a safe level?
Well, Carly, we're not flying right now. The only missions that we're doing are quiet skies missions, and those are missions that are following the January 2021 people. So we're either on the border for illegal immigrants, or we're following folks from January 2021. We're not doing our regular missions where we're out there looking for the bad guys. So right now on most flights, you're not going to have air marshals.
What do you mean by that? You're following January 2021 people. What does that mean?
That means our primary mission is a little group called Quiet Skies. It's a mission called Quiet Skies that we're following people that flew into the National Capital Region in January 2021. You did not have to go to the Capitol or the rally, and you've been put on a specific list that TSA now has assigned air marshals to follow these people who have not had any type of criminal investigation. They haven't committed a crime, but yet 3 years later, we're following the same individuals day in and day out.
So you're saying that air marshals are now following people that were at the Capitol on January 6th, and they're not tracking terrorists at all?
Well, they didn't even have to be at the Capitol, Carly. They could have just flown into the National Capital Region. So if anybody was there for a job interview, to visit family, we even had a gentleman that was there for a funeral. They put on this domestic terrorist list just because of their geographic location to Washington, D.C. So these people did not even commit a crime. They weren't even at the Capitol.
What? Do those people know that they're on this list?
Some of them do, because when they go to the airport, they get the quadis's on their boarding pass, and then they have to go through enhanced security. Then they're followed by teams of air marshals on any leg of flight that they have. So yes, a lot of them do know that they're being followed, yet they haven't been vetted, and they have not committed a crime. And 3 years later, we're still doing the same duty, and we followed the same people over and over for 3 years who are no threat to this country.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so if you are an average passenger on a plane, how concerned should you realistically be?
I think you should be very concerned. When you're boarding the aircraft, you need to look around to see who you might be able to ask to help you, like a good Samaritan, because you're on your own. If anything happens, please don't wait. There's going to be no law enforcement that's going to help you. So you need to have a plan. Look where the exit doors are. Look where your flight attendants are standing around you. But I would look at other passengers to see, I would be looking around for a football player or somebody, a pretty big guy or a couple big guys, in case you needed to take action.
Wow.
So there you go. So the U.S. government is following around people that didn't do anything wrong at all. 3 years, almost, 4 years? No, 3 years, yeah. Because it was 21, we're in 23, so you do the math. That's 3. So that's what they're doing. Speaking of January 6th, the footage has come out, and the footage, Mike Johnson, our new Speaker of the House, said he was going to release the footage, and he did. And it shows a completely different story than the stupid January 6th committee that was just a clown show. They was all over network TV, and they published it, and they processed it, and tried to present it as facts, and there was no dissenting opinions on it at all. So they released I don't know, was it 44,000 hours, and people have gone through it. They posted things online about people were just standing outside the Capitol. They were behind the barricades. They were standing. They were obviously chanting and had signs and flags, and then Capitol Police just started shooting them with rubber bullets. There's a video of a guy who has a rubber bullet inside of his cheek. It looks like it went through his cheek, and he's got bandages on the inside and outside of his face. They're throwing tear gas, they're throwing smoke, they're shooting other people with rubber bullets and trying to provoke these people into running up and attacking. I mean, what else are people supposed to do? They're just standing there. They're not trying to break in. But they're just being shot and attacked by Capitol Police. And then, of course, there's other videos where people are supposedly arrested, right? These guys bring down another guy in handcuffs, and they come to a point in one of the corridors or hallways of the Capitol, And then they just take the handcuffs off, the little fist pumps, and like, yeah, whatever they're talking about. Yeah, hey, yeah, you did a good job. You did a good job. Nice job. You'll get a raise here for pretending to be a Trump supporter and inciting violence, and so they can use this forever against the right. So the footage is completely different. Very, very, very different than what was portrayed to us. What was it, the beginning of the year or something like that? They had this nice production that they made and they televised it, and it was just great. Although I didn't watch any of it. So yeah, the footage is a bit different. So they're keeping track of those people, but they're not going after the terrorists. Supposedly they're I don't know what they're doing out at the border. What are they playing cards? Are they taking a nap? Are they on vacation down there? Because the border's a mess. We got millions of people that pour across our border, and you see videos of trains and just thousands of people in mass crowds coming towards our border, and we'll just let them right in. We'll just let them in, because that's what President Poop His Pants administration does. It's America last with him. And so yeah, that's what they're making sure that the people that flew into DC probably during December and January, that they're being watched. So if you flew into there, and some of these people don't even know that they're being followed and being watched by the U.S. Marshals and things. So if you're on a plane and you think some bad's gonna go down, yeah, go, like she said, find a football player, apparently, because that's the only help that you're gonna get, and hopefully be able to defend yourself, because that's what's gonna go down. There's not gonna be anybody on the plane to help you. Unless maybe, what if there's a U.S. Marshal that is following a January 6th person on the plane and something happens? I guess there's that chance. So if you can find the list where that these people are on, maybe hitch a flight onto that with them to wherever they're going. Then there would be a U.S. Marshal, if you can find that out. I'm sure that's probably posted online. I'm sure the administration did that, since they showed the pictures of our special forces guys and their faces online. I'm sure that was okay. So yeah, I'm sure you could probably find the list of people that are on this Sky Watch list, or whatever the crap they called it. So maybe you do that. Maybe then you can get a U.S. Marshal on the plane if something's going on. So there you go. There's a good plan, right? So yeah, it's just awful. But then you've got Biden on the economy. What a great job this is done. So should we hear what he had to say about the economy? Let's just take a little listen about what he had to say.
You started your remarks here today by saying it was good news today with the economic report. Why do you think most people still don't feel positive or feel good news about the economy?
Well, first of all, you just heard the news today too. They haven't heard it. I think the people, those 300 plus thousand people who got jobs, feel better about the economy.
Look.
I gotta choose my words here.
Hold on. He's got to choose his words, because he can't. He's got, okay, wait a minute, I gotta think of this lie. I gotta make sure this is the right lie, because people are gonna say it. So let me make sure I can get this lie going, and get the hamster wheel going in my brain to get this thing out there.
All are not the happiest people in the world. What you report. And I mean it sincerely.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
You get more legs when you're reporting something that's negative. I don't mean you're picking on me. I'm just the nature of things. You turn on the television.
Picking on you.
And there's not a whole lot about boy saves dog as he swims in the lake. To say, it's about, somebody pushed the dog in the lake. I mean, I get it, but. If you just listen to what's going on around the world.
There you go. He couldn't come up with anything. No, we hear about a lake that the Obama chef drowned in a lake. That's what we hear is that he just drowned in a lake for no apparent reason. That's what we hear about that. Oh, that's not all he had to say either. Now he's going to talk about Republicans and what if I've heard this once, I've heard it 100. No, I have not heard this at all.
Fortunately, we've been able to push back on MAGA Republicans so forth. They haven't given up. They still want to undo this progress we're making.
Oh, that's for sure.
We're proposing cuts in investments in roads, bridges, the internet,
okay.
the high-speed internet.
Sure.
The very things that provided across the board.
Yeah, let's do that again. Fortunately,
we've been able to push back on MAGA Republicans so forth. They haven't given up.
No.
They haven't given up.
Sure.
They still want to undo this progress.
That's for dang sure.
They're proposing cuts in investments in roads.
Yeah, we don't like roads. Bridges, no. The internet, no.
The very things that provided from
So if I've heard that, man, I've heard that. I've heard that Republicans, when I talk with some of my Republican friends, what do we talk about? Oh man, when I go to the gym and I'm sitting there talking to my Republican friends, I'm like, yeah, those roads and those bridges, those gotta go. We can't have roads and bridges. No. The internet, where this is being broadcast to you, is from the internet. My other social media things, the internet, the internet's gotta go by. See you later, internet. I mean, what the crap? And then, that's just astounding. This dude is astounding at the stuff he makes up. Just like he's traveled, 17,000 miles with Xi Jinping. He's rode like 2 million miles on Amtrak or some stupid number, whatever the number is that he comes up with on that day. Which isn't true. If you've ever heard that, he's told a story where he's traveled like 1 million or 2 million miles on Amtrak. One of the conductors, apparently of the train, told that to him. But when the conversation happened, that he supposedly said it happened, the guy had been dead and had retired probably like 20 years earlier, something like that. So Republicans, we don't want the internet. We don't want roads and bridges. No, I don't want any of that stuff. I want dirt roads. I want rocks everywhere. I want to have to use a ferry to get across rivers and things. And just take the super long one. You go down a hill. We'll just go flying down the hill and hope the heck we have enough inertia to go all the way back up the other side of the hill, without the bridge. So hopefully that'll work out. That stinking internet. That's bad. We don't want that either. This guy cannot be serious. So that's the President of the United States, everybody. That guy right there. And we'll also play this last little thing here. Some of his other brilliance. So if you voted for him, good job.
Voted for Joe Biden in 2020. You may want to take a look at this. Enjoy.
Yes, and do.
Anyway, the best way to get something done.
Sure.
If it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to
hold it, maybe.
Anyway, from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa.
Okay.
Putin's kleptocracy.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And Joan.
Shing-a-ding-a-ding-ding.
159,000
billion,
dollars less.
7,000.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
Okay. What is it?
The
Foot. That's the word? Okay. Yeah, the idea.
Los Angeles what am I doing here?
I don't know.
2 reasons.
Go away, please. Two.
We haven't been able to communicate it in a way that is, let me say another way.
Comprehensible?
Nature, not solid meeting.
Sure.
With, with
Bob?
They make
Builder.
a very good point. Here's the deal.
Sure. The deal?
Here's what drives the driver in the states that are affected. Here's what you can do, the drivers. We want to expand
Press the gas?
free K for 3 and 4-year-olds. Millions of free K.
Free. Oh, it's the President of the United States, everybody. Joseph Biden. Yeah. There you go. That's the President of the United States. So the fact that the Christmas tree in the White House blew over is a perfect example of this administration. Perfect example. Just blown over. Blown clean over. And then we have the mess. We have the mess to clean up. Then we're stuck with it. Stuck with this guy for another year. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully that is it. Hopefully. I don't think we can take it another 4 or it would be 5 years. I mean, it's been 3. And we're in the state that we're in. Oh, lovely. But I want to share a good story. I want to share a good story here at the end of this episode. I want to share a story from, what's his name here? His name, Neil McDowell. He is the guy, he's, what the heck was his name? On Band of Brothers. Hold on. But just kind of his story of coming to God, because he was, obviously the Band of Brothers was a huge success. So he is in, I guess he was in Minority Report. He was also in Captain America, and some other things. But anyway, so he's in 911 Lone Star. Apparently he was a cop. But anyway, so, and then obviously he was in I'm trying to find his name in Band of Brothers. Come on. That's right. He was in Yellowstone too. If you've seen that, that's a great show. Oh, come on. It's like everything else that he's been in, but not. If I looked up Band of Brothers instead of him. He is. Oh, for the love of Pete. Buck. I was going to say something like that. Anyway, so he kind of his coming to the Lord, and what happened to him, because he says once he got married, he wasn't doing sex scenes and he wasn't going to kiss any other women. And what happened to him in Hollywood?
Years. I couldn't get a job. And because of that, I lost my big, beautiful house in Los Angeles, my shiny Mercedes, all my stuff, and my swagger. And as you can imagine at the time, I was really crushed. They thought that I was some religious zealot, but to me, it was just that I didn't think it was the right thing to do. And also, I really love my wife. And as I've said, and I'll say it 1,000,000 times, these lips are meant for one woman. And I'm not sure if she's here in the room yet with our 5 kids, but if you see her, you'll understand why. But after that, my confidence was gone. I lost it all. And I started wallowing in self-pity. I started drinking my problems away. It hurt. Almost 2 years went by, and it was the lowest point I could get to. And I remembered this day like it was yesterday. I was so angry, and to God I said, why have you forgotten about me? Why are you doing this to me?
Just great. Just great. So he decided, and he's gotten back up. He's done, he's in other things now. So he's gotten his job back. He's gotten, the money back. So just great. So if you ever think, why is this happening to me? Just remember, there's good things on the other side. There are good things to happen on the other side. Kind of like we are right now as a country. We're kind of in the crapper, if you will, but good things will come on the other side. So with that, hopefully you had a great week, and thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. Like I said, you can find me on anywhere. There are Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, and Truth Social, and I will post many things on there. So come check it out. Kate and Eric Show, wherever you find your social media. Check it out. Thanks. Have a great week. Bye-bye.